So sa video lecture na ito, pag-uusapan natin ang cash and cash equivalent. So itong dalawang account na ito ay magkaibang concept ang dapat nating pag-aaralan on the cash account at ang cash equivalent. Kapag nag-prepare ka na ng financial statement ng company, specifically ang balance sheet or statement of financial positions, itong cash and cash equivalent ay pinipresent natin as one line item. Alright? Ang ibig sabihin, we present this cash and cash equivalent together. And this is the first line item na makikita mo on your balance sheet. In this cash and cash equivalent, mag-uumpisa tayo sa cash. Sa cash, there are three types of cash. We have our cash on hand, cash in bank, at ang ating cash fund. So, cash is simply the money of the company. On cash on hand, this includes the currencies, the coins. We also include the checks, mga checks na na-receive natin from the customer, mga bank draft, at mga money orders. Itong mga checks, bank drafts, and money orders, these are the negotiable instruments. These are included in our cash on hand. Sa cash on hand, this includes our currencies and our coins. Also includes our checks, mga checks na na-receive natin from the customers, mga bank drafts, mga money orders. Ito yung mga negotiable instrument na kasama sa ating cash. Sa cash in bank naman, we have our checking account and our savings deposit. So, sa cash in bank, we have our checking account. Checking account is also known as demand deposit or current account. So, parehas lang ang ibig sabihin nun. Checking account, demand deposit, or current account. Sa checking account, usually wala tayong interest na na-earn dito sa ating checking account because mabilis ang paglabas ng pera at pagpasok ng pera, pag-deposit at pag-disburse ng pera. So, sa checking accounts, usually wala tayong interest na na-earn dito sa checking account. Savings deposit naman, usually meron tayong interest na na-earn dito sa savings deposit, but it's minimal. Sa cash fund naman, examples of cash fund, petty cash fund, payroll fund, travel fund, interest fund, dividend funds, or tax fund. Ito yung mga examples ng mga funds na ginagamit ng isang company sa kanilang operations. So, examples of our cash fund, we have our petty cash fund, payroll fund, travel fund, interest fund, dividend fund, or tax fund. Ito yung mga funds na ginagamit ng company, the operations of their business. So, ang pinaka-importante dito sa cash na account, this cash should be unrestricted. So, para ma-include natin ito sa account na cash, lahat ng ito should be unrestricted. Pero kapag ang mga amount na ito ay restricted in use, cannot include this in the account cash. Hindi natin pwedeng isama sa account na cash. Let's say for example, on the cash in bank, meron tayong account or bangko sa ibang bansa. At kapag merong restrictions, ang foreign bank, meron tayong foreign exchange restrictions, then we cannot include this on the account cash. yung mga accounts natin from the foreign banks, kapag ito ay mayroong foreign exchange restriction, hindi natin ito pwedeng i-include sa ating cash, sa ating account na cash, because the cash is a current asset. Kapag meron tayong foreign exchange restrictions, we will classify this as a non-current asset kapag meron tayong restrictions. Kapag ang bangko naman ay under bankruptcy or financial difficulty, hindi natin ito pwedeng i-include sa account na cash. Kasi yung bangko na yon ay under bankruptcy or financial difficulties. So, ang ibig sabihin, merong restrictions. So kapag ang bangko naman ay under bankruptcy or financial difficulty, hindi natin siya pwedeng include sa account na cash kasi restricted itong account mo sa bangko kung saan nagkakaroon ng bankruptcy or a financial difficulty. So, anong gagawin natin? So, we will present this amount or the cash in bank na under bankruptcy or financial difficulty at estimated realizable value. And this is presented as a non-current asset. So, kapag ang cash in bank mo ay may restrictions, so kapag ang cash in bank mo ay may restrictions, hindi mo ito pwedeng i-present as cash kasi restricted siya. Dahil ang cash na account ay unrestricted. Dito naman sa cash fund, ito yung mga cash fund na intended sa operation ng business. Kapag ito ay intended for a non-current asset, let's say for example, a fund for acquisitions of PPE. Itong fund na ito ay intended for the acquisitions of PPE. Let's say, for example, a land or an equipment or machinery. So, kapag ang fund na ito ay restricted or intended for a PPE, then this is classified as non-current asset. Another example is the sinking fund. Alright, another example is the sinking fund. Ano ba yung sinking fund? Sinking fund is a fund set aside to pay the company's obligation. So, ito yung fund na yan, pambayad sa mga obligations, mga utang ng company. Let's say, for example, a bonds payable. A sinking fund is a fund set aside to pay the company's obligations. For example, a bonds payable. Sa bonds payable, kapag ang obligations of the company is within the year, ang portion ng sinking fund will be current asset. If the company's obligation is due within the year, then the sinking fund will be classified as a current asset. Kapag ang company's obligation naman ay due beyond 1 year, portion of that sinking fund will be classified as a non-current asset. So these are the restrictions na pwedeng mangyari sa mga funds kapag restricted for non-current purposes. So kapag ang amount na ito or cash fund na ito ay intended for the acquisitions of a PPE, then we are going to classify this as a non-current asset. Hindi natin pwedeng i-include ito sa account na cash dahil ang account na cash ay current asset. Another example is the sinking fund. The sinking fund is set aside to pay for the company's obligation. If the company's obligation is due within a year, then we will classify this as a current asset. Kapag beyond 1 year, we will classify this as a non-current asset. For example, our bonds payable. So, ito yung mga pwedeng mangyari kung saan ito ay restricted. So, kapag restricted ang ating cash, we cannot include this in the amount of cash. So, ito po ang ating cash. Ang pinaka-importante dito sa cash is this cash are unrestricted. Kapag unrestricted siya, pwede mo siyang i-withdraw, then we will include this in the amount of cash. Kapag restricted naman, kagaya ng mga foreign exchange restrictions, hindi natin ito pwedeng i-include sa cash. So, ito ang included sa ating cash.